Welcome back to the dimensional analysis video. Before we went over the method on how to use dimensional analysis, now we're going to put that method to the test on this problem right here. How many seconds are in a solar year? And if you're wondering what a solar year is, in parentheses they wrote 365.25 days to make it nice and simple for you. Okay, so how many seconds are in a solar year? It's basically saying how many seconds are in 365.25 days. So that's basically saying convert 365.25 days into seconds. Alright, so the very first step is to make a plan. I remember saying that blue is like a plan color, so we'll write in blue. So we are starting off with days. Alright, days. And we're trying to get all the way over here to seconds. So this is our map, our layout, our outline. So days. And does anybody know how many seconds are in a day? I don't. But I know in one day, I know how many hours there are. There's 24 hours. And also, off the top of my head, I don't know how many seconds are in an hour. But I do know how many hours are in a minute, or how many minutes are in an hour. And then I know how many seconds are in a minute. So you see how I did that? Instead of going straight from days to seconds, there's just steps that you have to take. You can convert the days into hours, and then the hours into minutes, and then minutes into seconds. So this is one-dimensional analysis problem, but it's going to have three steps: days to hours, hours to minutes, then minutes to seconds. So let's write this out. We'll go to black now. So remember the very first step, well, I mean that was the very first step, but the very next step is to write 365, the given units, which is this right here, days. Throw it over 1 to make it look nice. And now we use some conversion factors. So the first step is to convert days to hours, because that's what our plan says. So we want hours at the top, days at the bottom. Now we can say in 1 hour how many days are there, but I think it's a lot more simpler to say in 1 day there's 24 hours. Because remember, in a conversion factor, numerator has to equal the denominator. Now we could put an equal sign, but that will be pointless because we're just going to keep going. Now we got to go from hours to minutes. Alright, so a conversion factor, we need to get hours to minutes. Alright, so in 1 hour, there's 60 minutes. Now, so first we went to hours, now we're at minutes. Now we need to go from minutes to seconds. So minutes on the bottom, seconds on the top. In 1 minute, there's 60 seconds. Okay, so let's check this out. Well, let me try something. I'm going to try and move this. Okay, I can move it over. The underlines are moving, but it's okay. You guys know what's going on. Alright, so now dimensional analysis. Remember, dimensional analysis, you do the problem based on the units. So we're not even going to look at the numbers yet. I mean, we know that the numerator equals the denominator for each one of these cases. The conversion factors are good. So if these units work out, then this has to be the right answer. So let's take a look. Remember, we want our units to be in seconds. So days divided by days cancel out. Hours divided by hours cancels out. Minutes divided by minutes cancels out. So we're left with seconds. So if we worked it out based on units, the answer will be in seconds, which is exactly what we want. So therefore, all we got to do is plug all these numbers in. And if this is pretty long. Sometimes it could be even longer. So a good way that I do it is I just put it, like if I'm plugging into my calculator, I just write parentheses, the whole, everything on the top times each other, so 365.25. Okay, I'll write it out. I might as well write it out. So if I was going to plug it into my calculator, this is how I'd write it out. 365.25 times 24 times 60 times 60. Then I put, so this is everything in the numerator straight across. Close parentheses, then a divide sign, open parentheses, and everything in the well, it looks like a C, but that's the parentheses. Everything in the denominator. 1 times 1 times 1. Okay, so you know this is pointless, but sometimes there will be things in the numerator. Then close parentheses and hit that equal sign and see what you get. So I'm not doing that in my head. And I got, ooh, that's a big number. That has to go in scientific notation. Maybe I should do a video on that. Okay. Just because I can't fit it, I'm going to leave it like that. Times 10 to the 7th. So there's your answer right there. Alright, so we have a lot of time. Let's recap on how we did this. The problem in word format said this: how many seconds are in a solar year? 365.25 days. But it's basically saying convert 365.25 days into seconds. So we make our map. So ignore that for now. We start off with days, and we got seconds. Don't know how many days are in a second, or how many seconds are in a day, but we do know how many days are in an hour, and then how many minutes are in an hour, and then how many seconds are in a minute. So we come up with this whole plan right here. So 365.25 days converted into hours. Here's the conversion factor to convert into hours. And remember, for a conversion factor, the numerator must equal the denominator to make it a conversion factor. And now we're in hours. So we got to convert it to minutes. So 60 minutes in 1 hour, and that's the conversion factor. Then we got to go from minutes to seconds. So 60 seconds in 1 minute. That is the conversion factor. So the units cancels out really good, or really well, and we get seconds. So all we got to do is plug it in our calculator. And this is how I plugged it in the calculator. And this is the answer we got. So, been a while since I've been able to use this. There's the answer. And again, that's seconds. You know, I'm going to make that look nicer. How about that? Hold on. Where's the eraser at? There you are. Alright. Alright. Well, let me erase it. Oh, well, I tried. Okay. Okay, so we had time to do one more problem. And this one looks like a pretty tough problem right here. So a slow jogger runs a mile in 13 minutes. Calculate the speed in inches per second. And then they give you some conversion factors right here, some information. 1 mile is equal to 1609 meters, and 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. Okay, so yeah, this looks like a tough one. Let's see what we got here. So it basically wants you to convert this 1 mile per 13 inches. So yeah, this one thing you got to put together. A slow jogger runs a mile in 13 minutes. A mile. So you could say 1 mile per 13 minutes. That right there, we just found out what the given units are. 1 mile per every 13 minutes. That's how fast this person is running, or how slow this person is jogging. And it wants you to convert those units into inches per second. Inches. So the per just means, yeah, put it over it. Inches per second. How many inches per second? So we have double units here. Before it was just 1 unit, but now we have double units. So when you have double units like this, like units in the numerator and the denominator, it's the same exact thing. It's just it's basically like a 2-part problem compared to what we were doing before. So we have to convert miles into inches and then minutes into seconds. Alright, so minutes into seconds, that's pretty easy. We already know how many seconds are in a minute. Let's focus on this mile per inch first. So blue is our plan, our map. So we start off with miles per minute. And we got to get all the way to, I'll put it over here, inches per second. Now, no idea how many miles are in an inch. No idea. But if we look at this, these clues they gave us at the top, we can convert miles into meters based on this information they gave us. And once we have it in meters, we can convert that into centimeters. Because those are your SI units. You should have those memorized. If you don't, go review those first. So 1 mile into meters, and then we know how many meters are in a centimeter, and then we can convert that into inches. So they just basically gave us the answer right there. So what we're doing, first we'll convert the miles into meters. So then it'll be in meters per minute. Okay, because we didn't do anything in the minutes. And then we're going to convert the meters into centimeters per minute. Alright, looking good. And then we can convert the centimeters based on that conversion factor they gave us, the centimeters into inches per minute. And then we know how many, then for the bottom part. So the top part's good. We got it in inches. Now the bottom part, minutes into seconds, that'll be easy to do. So here we go. I'll put it in black. So we write 1 mile. Now we can't put this over 1 because there's something under it. So just like that. Times. So the conversion factor to convert miles into minutes. So, or I'm not miles into minutes, but miles into meters. That's going to be, so we want miles at the top. I'm sorry, meters at the top, miles at the bottom. And so in 1 mile, how many meters are there? There's 1609. So this, all of this right here, we just got from this right, or this right here. This conversion factor I basically wrote right here. So this conversion factor is basically completely ignoring the minutes because that doesn't matter. And once, if we were to put an equal sign, we would have the units meters per mile. So meters per minute. Man, I'm getting all this mixed up. Okay, now we got to go from meters per minute to centimeters per minute. So meters at the bottom, centimeters at top. Now you should know 1 meter, they're 10 to the second centimeters. That's something you memorize. Okay, now we're right here in the plan. So we keep going to inches. Centimeters at the bottom, wanted to cancel out, inches at the top. Now based on this conversion factor they gave us up here, in 1 inch, so 1 inch, there's 2.54 centimeters. So we are now here in the plan. Alright, so looking good. So we have inches per minute. The numerator was successfully converted into inches. That's what we wanted right here. Now all we have to do is convert the denominator, the minutes, into seconds. And okay, so this gets kind of tricky because we're trying to convert units in the denominator. Every time before we were converting units in the numerator. So, but this way it kind of gets reversed. So remember, this conversion factor is for the minutes that are way over here in the denominator. Okay, I know we have all this stuff in between, but we can, this is for this right here. So minutes are on the bottom. If we want to cancel out minutes, we're going to have to put it on the top this time. Usually we put it on the bottom, but because it's already on the bottom, we got to reverse it and put it on the top. And then we want seconds. So in 1 minute, 60 seconds. There you go. So throw all that in your calculator. I'm going to do it first. Times 100 equals divided by 13. Okay, and I got basically 81.2 inches per second. That's my answer. Alright, so there's the answer right there. I get to use this cool circle again. Boom, there it is. And just remember, so let's do this. So it's real quick. Green. So we have stuff in the denominator, which is green, and this is the conversion factor we use to convert the denominator. And then we'll say red is the numerator. So all of this is what we use to convert the units in the numerator into what we wanted. So it's all in a one-step process. And there you go.